guys, so welcome back to Lex Reads. So in today's video, we're actually going to be talking about Black Studies literature, Black Studies resources. These are some books where I have gravitated towards when it comes to, learning about just learning about our history. You guys know I'm a little amateur historian and I love researching. And this year it was crucial because I really did, and I'm going to continue to, really did learn so much about, our history, things that we have contributed in society. And you guys know I love to, share and look up things in our history that Blacks have done that get overshadowed. And yeah. Now, for a person that is not a nonfiction person, y'all know I don't do nonfiction like that. But when it does come to learning about different subjects or, events in our, history, I will read those. I honestly will. I need to share some more with you guys because I got some good ones, okay? Okay, so first is Black Fortunes. This is by Shamari Wills. Now, this is about 6 African Americans who became millionaires, okay? And I think I did Becoming a Black Book Collector. What episode? That was when I was talking about Black elites. I had so much fun reading this, y'all, because these people just fascinated me. Let me tell you the 6 people they focused on. Mary Ellen Pleasant, Robert Reed Church, Annie Malone, O.W. Garley, and my favorite, y'all, and Hannah Elise, I think that's how you say her name. Next is Our Kind of People by Lawrence Otis Graham. I got this after reading The House of Eve by Sadiko Johnson. And one of the characters, she talks about the Black elite. That also brought me to get this too. He explores just like that society, that close-knit society, certain people of color, meaning, skin color, to be in their, realm of their group. You have to have the right occupation, have to have the right last name. He does, dive deep into just that world and how you have Blacks that were prejudiced to other Blacks because of their skin color, because of their occupation, because of their demographics. So this really good. Next is The Black Cabinet. Now this actually is written by a white woman named Julie Watts, but she really does dive deep into the office of Roosevelt, Franklin D. Roosevelt. A lot of the policies that we still use today, this cabinet really did play a huge part in. And this cabinet, as you can see, are mainly Blacks, okay? And then you have the one and only Mary McLeod Bethune. I mean, just a pioneer in its right. But, we got to give it up to Roosevelt, okay? Look, if it wasn't Roosevelt, we wouldn't have no Social Security. Even though our generation probably ain't gonna get it, but that's a different story. To give it up to FDR and Eleanor. Can't forget Eleanor, okay? Because he really did implement a lot of Blacks during that time when clearly, nobody didn't want to deal with them. And we helped him out tremendously. I think a lot of people, when they think of best presidents, they always say Lincoln. And no shade to Lincoln, but I'm shading him. I think they say that because he, the Emancipation Proclamation freed the slaves. If you really look deep into that, he wanted to preserve the Union. He didn't care about, getting rid of slavery and abolishing it, okay? If you look into that, you will see what I'm talking about. FDR, in my opinion, he's a top president, okay? He really was a top president. So this really does explore, his cabinet during that time. Learn about every person that was in that cabinet, every Black person. Next is James Baldwin, The Evidence of Things Not Seen. This was published this year. I actually got it from the publishing company. He's exploring the child murders of Atlanta during the late 70s, early 80s. In the media and things like that, they didn't really just heavily publicize that. A lot of the murders, the families didn't get any closure. They also didn't get compensated. And the guy they said that did it actually was a Black man. But they never really confirmed it if you really look into it. I know I learned about this because of Tari Jones. Tari Jones, she wrote American Marriage. She actually had classmates that died because she was a child during that time. She had classmates that were murdered, during that time. But I think a lot of people, they don't know about, the Atlanta child, murders and how, I mean, you had parents and children that were just scared to even, leave their house because the way that they he just would kidnap the kids and murder them. You know what I mean? And yeah, but he does explore that. Next is The Underground Railroad Records by William Steele. William Steele, he helped thousands of slaves, you know, through the Underground Railroad. Of course, you know, when you think about the Underground Railroad, you're going to think of Harriet Tubman. I mean, we have to. But Harriet didn't do it on her own, okay? And he played a major part of that. Now, the good thing about this is we have records, letters that he corresponded with people, get the insights of him actually helping, you know, enslaved people. Just fascinating. This is a man that does not get a lot of praise and recognition. Next is Anita Hill, Reemerging Equality. These are stories about gender, race, and home. She talks about just the well, it talks about redlining, you know, when it comes to neighborhoods, talks about certain demographics in neighborhoods, blacks when it comes to housing, how they are treated, and we know how we are treated. This really hit home because I was partially raised in a predominantly white, you know, neighborhood. Because my aunts lived in the suburbs, you know, because the neighborhood was white and demographic was mainly white, the school system was going to be up to par. That's just how they do. On the weekends, I would go to my grandmother's house, who lived on the north side of Flint, Michigan, and it was totally different. Okay, living in the suburbs, we were like one of how many black people in that neighborhood? You rarely saw us. But then going to the north side of Flint, girl, we was everywhere. You know, it's a different vibe, okay? So when she was talking about that, had like stories of people, you know, just talking about the differences, like I said, it really did hit home because I could easily relate. And then lastly, I wanted to highlight this book, you guys. This is amazing. This is by Henry Louis Gates. Love him. This is 100 Amazing Facts About the Negro. Y'all, this has everything, okay? This goes in so deep. When I tell you, he really researched what slave literally wrote his way to freedom, what was the first black town in North America, who was George Washington's runaway slave, who was the first person to see baby Jesus, what else? Were slaves actually eaten by dogs? What was the first Underground Railroad? I mean, he has everything. Who was the first black head of state in Western history? Out of all these books, I would say get this, because you are going to learn so much about our history that we do not know, that people don't like to share. But by reading this, I was so flabbergasted. So flabbergasted because there's so much that blacks have contributed in society and we do not know. We honestly do not know. And I think also too, you know, I'm generalizing, but we highlight the same people, black, you know, people, black Americans. We know about Harriet. We know about Sojourner. We know about Frederick. So yeah, guys, that is it when it comes to some of my Black study books. I have some more, but I just wanted to kind of ease in a little bit because I didn't want to overwhelm you guys. But I will do a second part to this. But this was like the first group of books that I really read and used while doing my research of, you know, Black Americans and just Black people in general. Yeah, guys, that's all I have for you. And I'll be back with more Black books. Bye.